Welcome to today's video, where we are diving into a topic that can transform how you approach challenges in your life. Blame versus growth. Have you ever found yourself stuck in the cycle of blaming others or circumstances for things going wrong? Or maybe you notice how easy it is to let ego get in the way of taking responsibility and growing from a setbacks. In this video, we'll explore how the ego fuels the blame game, keeps you from reaching your potentials, and holds you back from the growth you're truly capable of. We'll also talk about practical tools and strategies to break free from this mindset, so you can take control of your personal growth, relationships, and success. Without any further avoidable excuse, let's get right into it. Everyone in their lives faces a situation when they blame others or circumstances around for the things went wrong. People tend to take credit for themselves when things go well, but blame on circumstances and everything around when things go poorly. For example, when our favorite team wins, it's due to their dedication and hard work. When we lose, it's usually the referee's fault. Blaming behavior are usually triggered by something. It might be your own ego. Someone's ego is their sense of their own worth. For example, if someone has a large ego, they think they are very important and valuable. He had a massive ego. Never would he admit he was wrong, etc. The ego can create a rich sense of personal identity and fixed mindset, making us resistant to change and new ideas. We may become stuck in our ways, unwilling to challenge our assumptions and try new approaches, ultimately limiting our ability to learn and adapt to new situations. In general, blocking our way of growing personally and professionally. Ego and blaming behavior are closely linked, because the ego resists admitting fault or vulnerability, leading to a tendency to shift blame onto others to protect one's self-image. When ego takes over, taking responsibility feels like a threat, so blaming becomes a defense self-mechanism. Here is how we connect. Ego as a self-defense mechanism. The ego, in psychological terms, is a sense of self which includes one's self-esteem and identity. When person's ego is strong or overinflated, they may struggle to admit mistakes, because doing so can be seen as a threat to their self-image. In this context, blaming others becomes a defense mechanism to protect the ego from feelings of inadequacy or failure. By shifting responsibility, the person avoids confronting their own faults. Avoidance of vulnerability. Blaming others is a way to avoid vulnerability. A fragile and inflated ego can make person feel like admitting fault would diminish their worth or status. Instead of reflecting their own actions, they push blame outwards to avoid that uncomfortable feeling of being wrong. Preservation of control. People with strong ego often want to maintain a sense of control. Admitting mistake might feel like a loss of control. By blaming others, the individual can maintain the illusion that we are in control and that external factors or other people are at fault for any shortcomings. Fear of criticism. An overly sensitive ego can be deeply affected by criticism. When faced with criticism, people may resort to blaming others to avoid dealing with the critic themselves, shielding their ego from damage. Blaming behavior and ego relates with one another. There is no questions about it. The main thing is that it creates mental barriers that prevent self-reflection, learning, and accountability, which are key ingredients for reaching your potentials and experiencing true growth. Firstly, ego and blaming behavior blocks learning and self-awareness. Resistance to feedback. When your ego is inflated, you are more likely to reject constructive criticism or advice. You view feedback as a threat rather than an opportunity for improvement. This makes it difficult to learn from your mistakes and grow. Overestimation of abilities. Ego can give you an unrealistic view of your capabilities, leading to overconfidence. This prevents you from recognizing areas where you need to develop new skill or knowledge. Secondly, it prevents accountability. Deflection of responsibility. When you blame others for your failures or mistakes, you avoid taking responsibility. Without accountability, it's hard to see where you need to improve, which is essential for growth. Lack of control. By blaming external factors, you give up control over your circumstances. Growth requires an internal sense of control, where you believe that you can change your outcomes by changing your actions and mindset. Negative focus. Blaming others puts your focus on problems and obstacles, rather than solutions. This keeps you in a reactive, defense state, which is counterproductive to personal development and problem solving. Third, cycle of stagnation. No growth mindset. Ego and blame reinforce a fixed mindset, where you believe your abilities are static and can be improved. This mindset discourages the effort and persistence needed to grow. Repetition of mistakes. Without accepting responsibility of learning from criticism, you are likely to repeat the same mistakes, staying stuck in the same patterns and limiting your progress. Blaming circumstances is one thing, but it's entirely different when you blame others for your problems. Blaming those closest to us, especially for our anger or poor actions, can negatively affect our families and relationships. These connections often form the foundation of our emotional well-being and support. So blame in these contexts can cause deep, long-lasting damage. It can lead to negative emotional cycle because when we blame someone close to us, we may feel hurt, misunderstood, or unfairly criticized. This can create a cycle of negative emotions, where both parties become defensive, escalating conflicts, and making it difficult to resolve issues constructively. Blaming those closest to us often reveals our own insecurities or unresolved issues. Like other adult habits, the blaming tendency traces back to early childhood development. Blame often creates fog that makes it hard, if not impossible, to see situations from another side. Anyway, most blaming behaviors is learned and therefore can be unlearned. Work on your self-esteem. We know this can be hard, but the more self-worth you have, the more likely you will be able to take self-responsibility. To improve self-esteem, practice self-awareness by challenging negative thoughts and replacing them with positive affirmations. Set achievable goals, celebrate small wins, and focus on your strength. Surround yourself with positive people, and learn to set healthy boundaries by saying no when necessary. Engage in activities that bring joy, and take care of your physical health. Remember, self-esteem isn't about being perfect. It's about accepting and valuing yourself as you are, while striving for growth and improvement. Stop reinforcing unhelpful thinking patterns. Avoid negative self-talk, which can be a major obstacle for growth. It reinforces the belief that you are not good enough or don't deserve success. Do not be so hard on yourself. Learn to treat yourself with kindness and understanding. Develop empathy. Blaming often stems from ego's need to be right. Cultivating empathy helps you see others' perspective, which reduces the need to assign fault. Blaming language often escalates conflicts. Non-violent communication, mindful communication, helps you express your feelings without assigning the blame, creating more productive and empathetic conversations. Also, you need to know get yourself better. If you notice that relevant thinking patterns are harmful, change it. Change how you view mistakes. Try to shift your view of errors as failures into opportunities for self-improvement. By acknowledging responsibility, you're more likely to learn from your mistakes. See a professional counselor. Unhealthy blaming behavior is a psychological thing, and might not be easy to overcome that. Therefore, it is recommended to see a professional in some cases. Seeing a professional counselor or therapist helps to identify the causes of your blaming behavior in a safe environment. A professional can help you work towards accepting yourself. By practicing self-reflection, seeking feedback, practicing empathy, and focusing on personal growth, we can keep our ego in check and maintain a healthy one. That would be it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope it was worth your time and you found it useful. Consider subscribing to this channel, and your like would be much appreciated.